All right, we're live. Hi, everyone. I'm Cali from Make Your Mark, and I build websites. And tonight, thank you, Mark, for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time to come out and hopefully teach us something or a lot. And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Mark Ginsberg. I'm the founder of a digital marketing company here based in Israel called DriveHill Media. We specialize in SEO, which is search engine optimization, in PPC, which is pay-per-click advertising, which is paid advertising, Google Analytics, and overall digital marketing strategies. I've been doing this for quite a while now. I come from a background of Jewish history and got into the web in 2007, working at the Holocaust Museum at Yad Vashem, and from there shifted into digital marketing, doing it for 12 years now. And I love talking about SEO and PPC and analytics. So happy to get any questions and to hear any feedback, and shoot me up with any questions you have as we go through, and happy to answer.
Yeah, for sure. If you have any questions, then you can add it in the comments on Facebook and we can post them on here and get answers. So with that, I guess we'll start with our first question. How did you get into the world of ads, and when did you realize you were good at it?
Hold on one second. I wanna just share the video to my network. 1 second, sharing. Okay, hopefully people will be able to see us. When did I get into it? I mean, when I started, they weren't really, I didn't study this in university, and they weren't really teaching digital marketing in universities because it was so new back then. And I've always I'll pretty much self-taught in this space, and worked with at companies that were mentors who trained me. There's so many different parts to digital marketing. There's the more technical side of things. There's the more analytical, mathematical side of things and statistical side of things. And then you have your whole other aspect, which is the more creative side of things, where you're writing and creating content and posting videos and generating that content. And there's like digital marketing is so broad and so vast that everybody has, like, you can find your niche in digital marketing. And you can be a content strategist and a content producer and on that side of marketing. And you can also go on the other side, on the very technical, on the technical side of things, in the coding and in the SEO, which is also breaks down into the technical and the content. But you have that world, and I'm side of things into the mathematical, into the analytical side of things. I love Excel, and I think anybody, I'll say it quite often during our live, but anybody who is really looking to get into digital marketing, on the technical side, you really need to familiarize yourself with Excel and learn how to use it and how to manipulate that data. When did I realize I was good at it? Pretty close towards the beginning. And it's always, but the fun thing about digital marketing, about SEO, about PPC, is that it's always changing, and there's always something new to learn, and there's always new aspects to grow in, and it's never stale. And so if you like learning new things and like new challenges and exploring new aspects of, then it's a great career.
Yeah, it's a lot of adaptation. I feel like every single time I read a new blog, there's something else in there.
Right. There's always new stuff to learn, and there's always people. And also, like, thankfully, in the SEO and the PPC community, and I apologize for everybody who's listening, because we tend to use a lot of acronyms in the space. So again, SEO is search engine optimization on the organic listings, and PPC is the paid ads. There's people who are so forthcoming in the community, and who are so willing to share great information and great ideas. They could just keep it to themselves and not let anybody know what's going on, but people are so friendly and so generous and so kind. And so, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, people are really helpful and really sharing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm always surprised when I go on Facebook when I can't figure something out. There's always a group for it, and there's always people in that group who are ready to help. So it's It's a good field to be
And
in.
like, I mean, Excel, like going back to Excel for a second, Excel is like everybody uses it in business. And like I'll have friends of mine on Facebook who are not in the digital marketing space and who have an SEO question, who have an Excel question. And I tend to do the same things that they need to do in Excel, but just for SEO and PPC purposes. So like sometimes I'm happy to help them with their Excel work and with their spreadsheet stuff. And it's just, there's an overlap.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay, let's go to the next one. Paid campaigns. Why would I need one over the other?
Okay. So to really break this down, you have to understand the way Google works and the way the web works. And with the web, we often, I mean, there's the pay model where you go to a website, you go to the New York Times, and if you want to consume their content, after you get however many free posts you get, then you need to pay to get access to that content. Much of the content, the majority of the content on the web is not behind the paywall free. And so that content is paid for by advertising, right? We are the product. The users are the product. And so Google is the same with search, right? Google started without ads. Google was the project of two graduate students at Stanford, of Larry Page and Sergey Brin in the late 90s, who were in the information retrieval department. They were trying to figure out, how do you bring back results that are better than what you're seeing now? Before Google existed, there were search engines, right? Google just did it better than everybody else. And so Google figured out how to crawl the internet. SEO and the way search works is, the search engines have robots. They have their spiders that go and crawl the web. After they crawl the web, they have to store the content that they read, and then they have to rank what is better and what is worse. So they decide who is a better result to show up. And what Google did, and why they succeeded over all of the other search engines out there, is they figured out a better way to rank the search results than everybody else. Right? It used to be way back when, even before I got started, if you wanted to rank for the word university, you just stuck the word university 1,000 times on your page. The search engine read your page, said, oh, they have 5,000 words. 1,000 of those words are university. So 1/5 of all of the words on the page are university. This page is really about university. They should rank number 1 for university. So when people figured out that it's just about the amount of content you stick on your page, then they started sticking in more and more of those words and creating junk and garbage that wasn't meant for people to read, but was meant for robots. And Google came along and realized that it's all about the links. And if someone links back to you, links on the web are like votes. So if I link to Cali Benezra's company, that's an endorsement from me for your marketing company, right? And if I use the anchor text, if I use the words in the link that say great social media marketers, right, that's a signal to the search engines that you should be ranking for the words of social media marketers, social media marketing, great social media marketers, best, because they know best and great mean the same thing. So Google figured out that links are what matters on the web, and that as opposed to what I can stick on my web page, links are what changes and what make or break me and my popularity versus somebody else's popularity. So Google realized with organic search, this is how they built their organic search results, that they can get a better model of what should rank above everything else if they crawl the entire web, look at who is linking to everybody else, and then rank those websites that have more, that are more trusted by these other sites. And so that's how Google started building their algorithms. I mean, they published their theories and they published this patent when they were still students at Stanford. And for a long time, Stanford owned the patent that Google was based on. It was a project that came out of their graduate studies. And so what's important to realize is that for organic results to happen, for SEO to happen, right, it's not something that can just happen overnight. Because firstly, the search engines need to find your website, they need to crawl your website, and they need to rank your website along with everybody else. And it's not just about what's on your website, it's about where you fit in with the entire web and who's linking to you and what your popularity is. So startups often come to me and say, hey, we're getting started and we need to launch an SEO campaign and we need to get going. I mean, and so it's important that their PR strategy and that their launch strategy links back to their website, and not just to their homepage, but also to deeper internal pages, that things are ready when they first get started. And so SEO takes a while to get going because there's the technical side of things in terms of how your website is built and how it's configured and how it's constructed, so that the search engines can read your site and that it's search engine friendly and that they can understand the content on your website. And then there's also the whole popularity across the web side of things, so that way you are getting more links and more exposure across the web. So it's both the SEO is on-site, like the things that you can control on your website, and off-site in terms of how everybody else links to you and sees you, and if you're viewed as an authority in the space. And so it takes a while to get that going. Whereas with a paid campaign, the minute you build your ads and you create your campaign and you set up your configuration and you set up your tracking and everything else is done, the minute that that's done, you're able to launch your campaign. You pay for the clicks and you pay for the exposure. And the minute you turn off the pipeline and the minute you stop spending, then you lose that exposure. But the people who are being exposed to you and who are seeing what's going on with you, then they're the ones who are then you get that exposure. It's instantaneous. It takes a day or two, whatever it is, for the ads to be approved and to go live in the system. The bots haven't been so great right now, and it's been taking longer to get ads approved. But my point is that with PPC, it's instantaneous. And with PPC, you choose the keywords that you're targeting. Google's also changing that. We can talk about that later if there's time. But you choose your targeting. You choose the landing pages that you want to use to send traffic to. So as opposed to Google reading your website and saying, hey, my website is about social media marketing, and that Google is going to decide what's the best landing page for these particular keywords, you choose the keywords that you want to bid on and what you're willing to spend, and you send the traffic directly to those landing pages. So for PPC, you have a lot more control in terms of what you're bidding on and what you're seeing, and where you're being seen, versus in Google, in organic search, where you don't have that control. But I think that we also need to, I mean, I wrote about this on LinkedIn a little bit ago. I think that we also need to get out of this dichotomy of paid versus organic, because the search results are really becoming more and more blended. And people don't realize, I mean, I realize because it's what I do all day, but most people don't realize. I know my parents for sure don't realize when they click on an ad versus when they click on a regular listing. Right. They want the best listing. They want to get the best answer. Google's an answer machine, right? And I mean, it's different from Facebook and from social media, but with search and with search marketing, with search engine marketing, with the paid marketing, you want to find your answer. You don't really care as a user if someone is paying to bring that traffic or if it's coming in the organic result, as long as it's the best user. And so Google also became this tremendous, ginormous company by figuring out how to monetize their ads. They didn't have ads in the beginning. They didn't know how to make money in the beginning. They didn't care about making money in the beginning. It was all about finding the best result. There's a great story that they tell that Yahoo was talking about bringing in Google search to run Yahoo's search engine before Google existed and when everyone used Yahoo on the web. And Yahoo was like, we can't use you guys because your results are too good. Yahoo made money by showing ads, right? And so every time you did a search on Yahoo and you didn't find the answer you were looking for, you did another search on Yahoo. And then Yahoo got to show more ads and more ads and more, and they kept making more money. Whereas if they used Google search on Yahoo, people found the answer they were looking for right away, and they didn't keep searching. And so Yahoo was making less money if they would use Google. That's why they didn't end up buying Google in the very beginning. People don't know this. It's a great story because it gives you the answer. So Google had to figure out how to make money. And so what?
It was a missed opportunity. They should have bought it back then.
Yeah, if it was a missed opportunity, they should have bought Google. They would have been the ones building self-driving cars right now.
More.
So what I'm trying to get at though is that Google realized that their ads have to be relevant for the searchers, because searchers need to have that trust that Google is going to give them what they're looking for, so that the next time people come back to Google, they search in Google again and again and again. And so their ads have to be relevant to the search queries that people are doing. Otherwise, people aren't going to click on the ads. People are going to stop trusting Google because their ads are ridiculous. Like, why would I want to, why, if I'm searching for the NFL, would I want to see ads for, I don't know, for something that has nothing to do with football? Like, why would I, like, it doesn't make any sense. When I'm searching for travel, Google is showing me travel ads. When I'm searching anything that's shopping, Google is showing me those products in product ads. Google has figured out how to build and score their ads based on the relevance of the searches. So with PPC, it's an auction-based system, right? I'm bidding to outbid my competitors. So if I'm bidding on a keyword, I have to beat out the people who are ranking next to me in the paid ads. They keep organic search and paid search completely separate. And they claim, I mean, SEOs are always skeptical, but they claim that there's zero connection between paid ads and regular search ads, between paid ads and organic, excuse me. And so what Google realized is that their paid ads need to be relevant. Auction, it's built in. If my ad is more relevant to the query, meaning if you're searching for social media marketing companies and my ad includes social media marketing companies in it, if the landing page talks about how I'm the leading social media marketing company in Israel, and the ad copy has that, and I have other signals there. So all of these signals point to me being a relevant search for a relevant result for social media marketing for whatever the user searched for, then my ad is going to have a higher score. It's going to have a higher rank. And because of that, it's going to be more relevant. And so the user is going to get a better experience. Google always wants to show the best experience for the user. And it's important for companies, for SEOs, for PPCs to realize that they want the users to find their answers, right? People come to me and say, hey, why is my website not ranking for it? And you have to ask yourself, is your website the best result on the internet for this particular search that you want to rank for? And if it's not, how do you improve it? So, I mean, a lot of talking about how Google is starting to talk about how they're going to be incorporating speed. And if my website is faster, then I'm going to be ranking higher. Right. And now they're saying they're only going to do it on mobile devices, but it's because they want their users to have a better experience. And if you're sitting on your phone waiting for the stupid website to load, it's very frustrating, and you're going to leave and you're going to go to a different website. And so the whole point here is that I know we got on a tangent away from the original question, but the point here is that I think that you can't say, I'll just do PPC or I'll just do SEO. You need to focus on both, because it shows up in the search results and people don't know what they're looking at. If you're searching to buy Nike shoes, you don't even realize that at the top, when you see the images of the shoes with the price and the picture, that's an ad that used to be free. Now it's part of Google Shopping. But as a user, I don't care if if the company is paying for me to land on the landing page, as long as I get to the page where I can buy the shoe that I saw, that I see the price that was shown to me in the ad, that the product is in stock, and that there's free shipping and it gets to me as quickly as possible. And so it's important, I think, for us to get out of that dichotomy of, what do I need to be focusing on first, SEO or PPC? You need to be doing both. PPC you can turn on day one, but you also need to start building the infrastructure and building the technical aspects for the SEO campaign in order to grow. I know I've been talking a lot. Sorry.
No, it's true. Like, we always tell people, like, I mean, we don't do a lot of the PPC, not my game. But the organic stuff, sometimes you have to have, a little bit of an ad budget to push your organic material enough to get some traction. And it's the same way. Like, if you would do an ad for, 6 months straight, and then you build nothing, you don't have, anything solid to land on, then those ads come down and, like, you don't have anything to show for it. You have the people who you got in the door, but you don't have anything that you've built over the last 6 months. So it's very true.
All right, so I'm seeing here the questions that people are asking on Facebook. I know I said I do apologize for using a lot of acronyms. As PPC is short for pay-per-click advertising. PPC is what we call in the jargon the paid ads that we talk about, because typically, as opposed to paying in a newspaper where you're paying for I don't know, whatever the circulation of the newspaper is. The newspaper will tell you, oh, we print 250,000 copies. So you know what you're paying for those 250,000 copies, and then you can break it down for every 1,000 copies that are being printed. In digital marketing, what we were talking about before in terms of auction is that Google also realized that instead of billing you in their ads for every time your ad shows, typically you only pay as an advertiser when someone clicks on your ad. So it's not just about getting that impression, which is what we say in the PPC world, which is where your ad appears on a page for a second and who knows if someone's looking at it or not, but you only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad. So even though the Google search results have all of these ads showing up on them, the advertiser is only paying Google to win that auction when somebody actually clicks on their ad. So PPC is pay per click, where you're paying per each click on your ad, and Google reports on the pay per click ads. SEO is search engine optimization, which is the other acronym, where it was basically built around optimizing or improving your website for the search engines. If I use any other acronyms, please just shoot us a comment and ask us, and I'm happy to elaborate. But basically, when you're optimizing your website, a search engine is a robot, and there are people behind these robots who are what Google Talk calls the search quality. They're the search quality raters, and so people are actually being paid by Google to go through to go to their search results and test their search results. So if someone is searching for, I don't know, top startups or top angel investment companies in Israel, right? So Google is paying people to go through and to read the actual search results and say, this is a good answer, this is a bad answer. And then they take that human feedback and they go back and they tweak their algorithms to figure out how did this get in here, and how can it improve, and how can we improve our search results to get better answers. And so the process of search engine optimization is to improve your website, so that way the search engines and the robots will better rank your website, and that people will eventually click through. And so I see the question of how do you get people to actually click? A lot of it has to do with what we were talking about before in terms of being relevant. And regardless of whether or not you're talking about showing up in the natural organic listings, or whether you're talking about showing up in the paid listings, it's all about trying to get into the mindset of your users. What is it that this person is searching for? What are they interested? It's different. I'm not talking about LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads. I'm talking about just Google for now. Google is an answer machine. People are going to Google to find information. What is it that they're looking for, and how can I build the answer to their question? And you also want to try to anticipate what their questions are before they ask them. And so what we're talking about here is on the organic side, on the natural side, to build this content, to create pages that are search engine friendly, that a robot is able to read, and that they can hit your website and they can follow through. And then building it so that you can craft your search results to show up in there. And I mean, we can do a whole session on just technical SEO, but there are things along the lines that are title tags, which show up at the top of your page. I'll actually, Callie, I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully this will work. Hopefully nothing too incriminating will show up on my screen. Okay, so I mean, we've been using social media marketing for a while now, because I keep seeing the Make Your Mark logo, so we'll use that. So we'll do a search for social media marketing, and firstly, I mean, already here, if you want to understand what people are searching and what people are using, so that's the entire area that's both for search engine optimization and for Google Ads, for the organic and the paid side, which is what we call keyword research, where you want to find out, what are people searching? What are people looking for? Am I, as a social media marketer who's trying to build up my brand, what is it that people are looking for? So if you just go to Google and you type in a query and you don't hit enter, just don't hit enter, let them give you their suggestions, you can already see a ton of different suggestions that are showing up in here. And so I'll turn this off. And so what you can see is social media marketing course, social media marketing agency, social media marketing strategy. If you're a social media marketing agency, you need to make sure that on your website in your title is showing up the word agency. And I'll show you in a second where that happens. If you develop social media marketing plans for people, you need to have a page. That's a great page highlighting your social media marketing plans and your social media marketing strategies. If you're a tools company, that's something that may be totally different, right? If you're an agency, you might want to have a page that talks about the tools that you use and the tools that you offer. I love posts from agencies that talk about their free tools. Like, right, people want to know how much they can do on their own versus what it is that they can do where they need to bring in paid help. What you want to do is you want to build this content, whether you're building it on your blog or whether you're building it on deeper inner pages. This content needs to be found on your website, because if it's not there, Google can't show it as a result. And so here, we'll click on social media marketing agency and we'll see what shows up. Again, Google knows that I'm in Israel. I'm here in incognito. I'm not logged in, so they know I'm in Israel. But they're showing some different results here. And so here already, what they're showing. This whole area up here is Google Maps, which is it's a whole nother section in terms of local SEO. And then we start to get into the regular results. And then oftentimes you'll see in regular results, people also ask. So like if you're looking for ideas how to build content, if you're looking for ideas of what content that you should be building, here's great questions that you can see that Google is telling you what people are using. If we scroll down, I'm not seeing any ads right now, but you're also seeing searches related to social media marketing agency. So pricing, you should definitely have a pricing page on your website. If you focus on small business, you should have small business, right? They're highlighting various aspects and various objects that you should be incorporating on your site. And so this is a result that doesn't have any paid ads. But let's do SEO for a second. Again, I'm not seeing any paid ads. Maybe it's because I'm incognito. Maybe Google knows that we're in a webinar right now and doesn't want to show me SEO agency. Let's see what happens if we search for SEO agency. Again, no. Here I'm seeing an ad at the bottom. Again, Google doesn't necessarily always show the search results the same every time. And so they do give you free resources in terms of understanding how your site is performing. Google Analytics is a separate product from Google, which is free. And everyone who's listening to me, if you don't have it installed on your website, if you don't have access to it, you need to make sure that you get access to it, that you're able to access it. But that's about where people are coming from: social, SEO, email marketing, direct traffic. That's what they're doing on your site. How many pages are they filling out forms? Tons of information that you can get from Google Analytics if it's set up properly. There's another tool that Google has, which is what's called Google Search Console, where Google gives you data from within their own servers about how people are finding your website. So in Google Search Console, you can see what are the keywords that are bringing people to my site. Not when somebody clicks on an ad, but when somebody clicks on Kahina, My Buddies, or whatever, when somebody clicks on one of these organic search results and comes to their page, then Google Search Console will give you information about how people got to your website. And when we talk about SEO, here, let's get out of the SEO space for a second and let's do the Dolphins are playing right now, and they're probably, I don't know what the score is. I can assume they're probably losing. Oh, it's tied. So you see, Google also is an answer machine, like what we were talking about before. So I searched for the Miami Dolphins. They know that there's a football game going on because they have third-party data sources. And so they're able to tell me all of this information about who it is and what's going on and so on. These areas over here in a search result, when people ask, how do I get people to click on my results? You can send signals to Google to what they want you to show for the title of your page, and also the snippet that shows up below here, which is in your description. So if you go to miamidolphins.com, which is the official website of the Miami Dolphins, the title tag up here, if you're in Chrome, Chrome displays the title of the web page. The title tag is one of the most important on-page SEO elements. It shows up in the code of the website in the header, but it doesn't show up in the actual content. It shows up in the tab in the browser in Chrome, and it shows up in Facebook. If it pulls and crawls the page, it'll show up as the title of the page, and it shows up in here at the top as the title. So here, the title of this page is Dolphins Home, Miami Dolphins-Dolphins.com, right? And that's what we were seeing before when we clicked on the search results, Dolphins Home, Miami Dolphins-Dolphins.com. Google takes what you give as the title of the page, and that's what they give as the title of the result in the organic search results. And then over here, this is something which is called your meta description tag, which is a tag that you put in. It doesn't show up on the page. It shows up in the code if you're in WordPress or in Wix or in any of those other SEO, in any of those other website platforms. You can typically control those elements on your page. So you want to make sure that Google doesn't necessarily use this. If Google doesn't like your title tag, they'll rewrite this tag and they'll take other content on the page. If you don't have a meta description, they'll make their own snippet based on their understanding of the page itself. But you have this space here to basically advertise and to convince users to click on your search result. So it's free advertising from Google for organic listings. If you show up, then Google will often take your meta description. So I always encourage clients to write custom meta descriptions for their target pages. If this is a page that you want people to see and you want it to be an important page in your search results, you need to give it a custom title tag and a custom meta description. In your title tag over here, you want to include keywords. So the Miami Dolphins are a football team and their keyword is Miami Dolphins. So it's important to show up for Dolphins. And you can see here in the description, I searched the word Miami Dolphins, and so Google is highlighting they're in bold. They're including Miami Dolphins in bold to show me, trying to give me some type of visual cue that this is a relevant search result. And so whenever your search query shows up in the description or in the title, they'll often bold it. So you can see here that it's bolded because they're trying to get me as a user to click through. You also often want to include, I'll stop sharing my screen now. You also want to include a call to action to tell people to click through, to tell people to get to your website, to tell people to learn more, to read more, find out more information, right? You wanna entice people to click through. Your meta description is where you want to sell the content of your web page to get people to click through on your organic result. On the paid ads, you have the control over the ad copy much more than what you do on the organic side. And you actually build the headlines and you build the descriptions, and you have that control in your display ad, in your Google search ads, where you can send the user exactly to the page you want, exactly with the content you want, and with the messaging that you want. And typically you want to build these landing pages that are going to be higher converting. So you'll want forms and you'll want to be able to grab whatever information it is you want. If you're a local restaurant selling bagels and catering for the weekend, then you'll want to be able to grab people's emails on that landing page and grab people's information and get them into a mailing list so that they become leads, and then you can upsell to them on your email platform, right? Search engine optimization, your search, your organic search, and your pay-per-click ads, it's important that it's part of an overarching digital marketing strategy, right? You're generating traffic to your website, but it's not just about generating traffic to your website. It's how are you going to continue working with those people once they're in the funnel? If you're an e-commerce store, you're sending them the product pages. Hopefully they're purchasing. If not, you're sending them abandoned cart emails if they added to your cart and they didn't convert. And then once they've purchased once, then you have to create pipelines and upsell to them and sell them new products and sell them related products and make sure they have a good experience and they leave reviews, right? This is traffic acquisition, about bringing traffic to your website, but you need to build an overarching strategy in order to know how to handle that traffic once they come to your website. If you're local businesses, it's all about generating your email lists and your leads and continuing to get them to engage with your business, and I haven't even talked about social, right? So I mean, it's important that it be an overarching strategy, that search engine optimization and paid ads in search work together, and that it's not, again going back, it's not one or the other, it's that they have to work in tandem.
Right. I think that leads us to the next question, which is, how do you know if you have like that balance? What are good metrics that you can check to make sure that Obviously, like you said earlier, it doesn't happen overnight, especially the SEO. Pay-per-clicks, yes. But how do you know that, I guess this one's just about the ad. How do you know that the ad is working? But also, I think a lot of people would ask, how do you know that, your organic, work is also making progress, because it's not something that you can just have Google every day and restart.
It's great. I mean, the advantage of digital marketing is that we have all of this tracking, and we have key performance indicators, KPIs, another acronym that always gets thrown around, to track and to measure our campaigns against. If it's organic search, then, as I mentioned before, Google Search Console gives you information about how your site is performing in the search engines. You can see how many visitors are coming to my website, how many sessions are happening on my website from organic search results. And you can track that over time, because Google Analytics tracks that over time, and Google Search Console also gives you that historical data. And you want to see positive growth. You want to see more exposure, more pages showing up in search results. You want to see, as your website is expanding, your traffic is growing, and your traffic is growing naturally. You also, when you configure Google Analytics properly, what your conversion goals are, if it's, again, someone signing up to an email form, or someone making a purchase, or someone filling out a download to download a guide, or to download a white paper, depending on the industry and the sector that you're in. You can track that performance and look at the conversion rates of who's coming to your website, how many people are actually hitting the pages that you want them to, and of those visits that are happening, how many are actually becoming a conversion, how many are actually doing what you want them to do. And you can have big conversions. Like, again, if you're a SaaS company selling enterprise licenses, right? The ultimate conversion is for someone to buy your license, is for someone to buy your service. But there's much smaller micro conversions that happen before that. Someone signs up to an email, someone clicks on a chat button, someone spends 5 minutes on your website, and you can configure all these things in Google Analytics. It's configurable. It doesn't come out of the box, but you can easily configure in Google Analytics these goals and these metrics and these conversions. On the paid ads side of things, Google Ads gives you a ton of data in terms of how your ads are performing. It's often too much data for the novice, and there is a learning curve here, because it could be just set it and forget it, but then you run the risk of your ads running amok and showing in crazy places, and your budget's going out of control, and you wake up the next day and you've spent $3,000 when you had only meant to spend $50 because you had misconfigured something. I've seen it happen. And so the point here, and that's on a good case when you catch it early enough. But also in Google Ads, you can also configure your conversions. So again, if you're a SaaS company and you want people to download your white paper and then get into the funnel and get into the pipeline, then that's where your conversion is. And then you measure your campaigns against benchmarks in the industry, and also against your own campaigns. So if one campaign is converting users at a 10% conversion rate, and another campaign is also generating what you think is good quality traffic, but that traffic is only converting at a 2 or 3% conversion rate, and one is costing you much more to generate the same conversion than the other one, then the question you have to then go and ask yourself is, okay, I have the data. How do I analyze the data? Why is this happening? Why is one case generating the conversions, and in another case, it's not? And so that's really where you leave the technical side of things, and that's where and then you have to dig down and figure out what is going on here. Am I answering the query that people are looking for? Am I giving them the service that they want? Is the traffic relevant, right? They may be searching for something that's completely not relevant. If I'm the Miami Dolphins and I want to sell season tickets, and I show up for queries when somebody wants to go to the Seaquarium and to see dolphins swimming in the water, right? That's the wrong type of traffic. They're both searching for dolphins, but that's not their target audience. So you have to understand what it is that your searcher is looking for, and then figure out how to best generate that traffic and how to whittle that down, so that way you're hitting your goals, and you're hitting your KPIs, your key performance indicators, which I mentioned before. Sorry for the acronym. Analytics is a whole nother ballgame, and there are people who specialize just in setting up Google Analytics and other and other analytics platforms out there, if you're in SaaS and you have an app, right? The analytics for that app is very different than the analytics for a website. You want to know how many of my signed up users are coming back on a daily basis, how many are actually using the system, what buttons are they clicking on, where are they going, and all of these things you can see on an app just like you can see on a website. And so a whole nother sphere of the digital marketing space is the conversion rate optimization process, another acronym, CRO. With conversion rate optimization, it's all about improving your website to generate the goals that you want people to use. If you highlight the button in a different way, perhaps people will click on it more. You guys know from your social media ads, if you use one type of button and one type of image, it may perform better than a different type of image, and a post may work better with a video than it will with an image than it will with just text. And similarly, conversion rate optimization specialists go and look at landing pages and say, hey, this landing page is generating for me 1,000 visitors. This landing page is generating for me 1,000 visitors. This one's converting for me at 5%. This one's converting for me at 3%. So the one that's converting for me at 5% is generating much more leads at a much better value for me as the person who's trying to generate those leads. How can I improve on the page that's at a 3%? What are the different elements that are on the 3% page versus the 5% page? And how can I improve this page versus that page? So, I mean, there's always metrics that you want to look for. From a search perspective, it's about visits, it's about conversions, it's about time on page, it's about the various metrics that Google Analytics gives you in terms of how your website is performing. And it's the same thing with Google Ads. I mean, Google Ads, you have the metrics, and also though in terms of what you're spending and what your bid is at, and how often you're showing up at the top of the search results versus the middle versus the bottom. How often you're showing up and how often you're getting clicked on, which is your click-through rate. So if your ad is showing up a ton, but people aren't clicking on it, then clearly there's something in your messaging in your ad that isn't resonating with your users. And so there's tons of metrics to look at SEO. There's tons of metrics to look at PPC. But the great thing about this industry is that there's so much information online that you can learn and that you can digest on your own. There's the Moz Beginner's Guide for SEO. There's beginner's guides to pay-per-click ads, where if you're working at a small business and you're like, hey, I need to run this now. Yes, you can talk to someone like me and use our services and have us set it up for you. But there's so many resources online that you can go and use to learn just a little bit in terms of making incremental improvements to your website. If there's massive technical issues on your site and you're a large e-commerce site, you're going to need experts who understand how search engines crawl e-commerce sites and what the pitfalls can be for e-commerce sites in order to do that. And yes, you'll always need those specialists. Thankfully, I have a job to deal with those more complicated technical aspects. But there's definitely things that people can be doing who are managing their own websites in terms of making sure that their pages are best suited towards their users. And it all starts with asking, what does my potential customer, in whatever industry I'm in, what is it that they want, that they're looking for, and how can I better improve my website to give them what it is that they're looking for and to make myself a better search result, so that way you can make Google's job easier to rank you higher than your competition. I'll stop my rant there. Oh, Cal,
yeah,
Cal,
I was on. We have a question from back a couple minutes ago, just about when you're building all of that content that we talked about, is it just going to be on blogs? Is that a good way to upkeep it? Should it be also going into the pages of your website?
You definitely, I mean, if you have pages on your website, you need to be refreshing them. You need to be maintaining them. You need to be on a platform where you can go in and edit it if you are capable of doing that, or you have a web developer and someone who's managing and maintaining your website who can go and do that. In terms of generating regular ongoing content, I mean, don't create a blog if you're just going to be posting a blog once a month and you're not going to be doing it. I know I'm guilty of it myself. But the point here is to be adding content. It doesn't necessarily have to be a traditional blog. It can be lots of different ways. You can go and create seasonal guides and clusters around various topics. And so again, going back to the social media marketing, if you wanted to create if you wanted to create a guide about social media marketing, you would just take one aspect of it. Let's say the strategy, right? And the various targets that you want to go after. And you could build out 10 pages on your website, an informational section on social media marketing strategies and different tips and tools and tactics to get to each of those goals, right? You're going to have your whole section about customer personas and audience personas and who you're going after and what your share of voice is. And all of those topics, all of those areas that are relevant to your business and to your industry, you can be creating content about and delivering to your users and giving more and more food to the search engines of high quality content. A blog is one way of just doing it because it's easy and it's quick. And it all, on the other hand, you want to make sure that what often happens with a blog is you publish a post and then it gets buried with everything else as you're continuing to produce more and more posts. What's important to realize is what we call in the space internal linking, where you're linking back into your blog posts. It's important to refresh your post as well, right? If you wrote something in 2018, it might have been relevant in 2018 when your target audience was on Snapchat. Now your target's not, let's say your target audience has left Snapchat and now they're on TikTok. And so you want to then be focusing on TikTok, and in your blog post about Snapchat, you can go back in and edit it and re-add relevant content and talk about the changes that have happened in 2020 and what's going to be happening in 2021, right? You can always go back and refresh old content and repurpose it. And a lot of SEOs often see a lot of success when they repurpose old content and give it a refresh. So I mean, a blog is one way to go. I mean, if you're a company, you need to be generating content, whether that's a regular ongoing blog, that's other aspects of creating content on the site, whether it's doing other creative things on your site, but you want to be generating relevant content on a regular basis.
We're trying to get.
Sorry, I think you were frozen there for a second. I didn't hear you. Sorry, you were frozen for a second.
If anybody has any other questions, hey, can you hear me?
Hear you now, yeah.
Great. So just quickly to wrap this one up, the page versus a post there's no weight involved. Is it better to build a page?
That's also, I mean, that's a tricky one because like I see tons of I assume you're talking about WordPress here.
Yeah.
So tons of WordPress sites WordPress started as a blogging platform and it's just exploded, and it's the largest content management system on the web, and tons of business websites and massive platforms are built on WordPress. And the basic structure, for those who don't know about WordPress, is that because it started as a blogging platform, it started with categories and with posts. And you would publish a post in a particular category or in multiple categories, and that's how you ran your blog. And then with pages give you more of a theoretical, in my mind, breakdown of a static page. But then you have all of these other add-ons to WordPress that generate calendars and generate all of these other types and functionalities, but they're all basically posts that are being reused for other purposes. So I don't think, I mean, again, I don't work at Google, I don't know, but I don't think that the search engine really cares whether in WordPress a page is defined as a post or a page is defined as a page. What matters is how it's being used and how it's presented on the website. If you're generating posts, right, you can also have your posts that I typically don't recommend this, but you can date your posts. So your posts can live in a folder that says 2020 and then 11/11. So you know this post was published in November of 2020, and then you have the title of the post. I typically don't really like that type of site structure. I typically recommend, to like either have your posts live in the root or just like socialmediamarketing.com/top 10 trends on TikTok, Or you would have it live in a category like socialmediamarketing.com/TikTok/top 10 trends, right? Something along those lines where your posts are categorized. Again, does a user care? If it looks like a blog post, theoretically, they assume to see a blog post. If it looks like a page, a website page, does it really matter whether it's built as a post or whether it's built as a page? And with Google Search Console, you can go in and you can see what content is ranking for a particular search query. So if you have a great informational blog post about, I don't know, the ultimate guide to generating a social media marketing strategy, right? And if that's your guide, then, and it's an amazing post, right? I would say keep that post where it is. Don't change don't change the website address. Don't change the URL. Just update and refresh that post, especially if that's the post that's already getting the search results, right? If that's the page for social media marketing strategy versus 5 other pages on your website that should be ranking for it, then continue to boost up the page that's ranking for it if you're happy with that. If that's the page that's getting the traffic, figure out, like what we talked about before, how you can make that traffic better convert.
Right. Okay, we have one last question up. Just a shout out from Eliza.
Oh, thanks, Eliza.
One last question. What are the top 3 must-haves in an ad campaign?
Oh, that's a tough one. Okay. In an ad campaign, I'll take it on the organic side, and I'll take it on the paid side. So, I mean, for both, any ad campaign, any SEO campaign, any pay-per-click ad campaign that I launch, it requires the keyword research. And again, it's often a meeting with the client, to understand the space, to understand what is it that the company that I'm representing, what the company that I'm working for, what is it that they do, what are their answers, and then you have to go and you have to do. We didn't even talk about the whole area of keyword research, but what it is that people are searching for. And again, getting into the mindset of the user, like we've been talking about, what is it that people want to know, and how is it that they're searching? What words are they using? And once I know that keyword research, once I know how people are searching and how much people are searching, this query versus that search query, and I have numbers, then you can prioritize. And because once you have that basis to understand what it is that people are searching, to understand your user, then it's great. If you're working at a company with a sales team, oftentimes you'll want to talk to the sales team to say, hey, what is it that, like, what are the pain points of our clients? What is it that they're interested that they're interested in solving? And once you understand what it is that they're looking for and what it is that they're solving, then you can firstly, on the organic side, optimize your pages for that. Make sure that you have that content covered on your website. Make sure that you have dedicated pages for it. Make sure that it's findable, right? Oftentimes people come to me and say, hey, I built a web page. How do I get it to rank? And then I go to their web page and I can't even find the page, right?
Right.
Because they don't want it to be found, but they want it to be found in search results. And so you need to send a signal to Google that, hey, I want this page to be found. You need to be you need to be linking to that page on your website so that these robots that follow those links can find the page and can then show it in the search results. And so it's a question of, is my page findable? Can Google read my page? And then how can I improve this page with, like, what we talked about, with the title tag of the page, with the meta description of the page, with the on-page content? Do I have engaging images? How can I improve the web page so that way it's better from an SEO standpoint? And again, if you ask, like, what are the actual items, like, there are great guides out there. I'm happy to answer questions afterwards. I'm happy if people want to, I'm happy to point them to more resources on the organic side of things. On the paid side of things, you need to have your tracking in place to understand, because you're paying for this traffic. You're paying for people to hit your website. You need to know that you're capturing those people and that you understand what it is that they're doing on your site and that you want them to do something, right? If it's a branding campaign and you want to just get your name out there, fine, you're just getting your name out there. But if you actually want people to come to your website and do something, then you need to be very clear what it is that you want them to do, and you need to make sure to tell your user what it is that you want them to do. And then in addition to that, I always suggest, like on the Google side of things, if you're launching a new campaign, to start on the more conservative side of things, because as I said before, if you have a limited budget and you make some settings in there and you let the Google algorithms run wild, which they take time to learn, then you can blow through your budget very quickly and your campaign will shut off because you've hit your max budget. And so I recommend testing, sticking your feet in the waters a little bit before you jump into the swimming pool to find out that it's freezing cold or burning hot, but to make sure that everything is set up properly and configured, and that you're always asking yourself, what is it that my searchers are searching for? What is it that they're looking for? And am I giving them the best answers, both on the paid side and on the SEO side?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time and answering all of our questions.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. And thank you everyone who came and stopped by and asked questions. You definitely made the whole experience better. And I hope everyone has a good night.
And I just say, if anybody has any questions for me afterwards, I'm happy. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. Happy to answer any questions and take a look at any issues people are having. So I'm here, happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you again, Mark.
All right. Bye.